Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Cliff Blazinski. I'm design director here at Epic Games, and today Rod Ferguson, who's with me in the studio,
Hey, y'all.
not wearing any pants again. We're going to go through some of the features in Gears of War 3, talk about the setting, talk about the characters, some of the weaponry, and give you a little bit of a kind of sneak peek behind the scenes about some of that stuff.
So let's talk about the Gears 3 prologue. Let's talk about sort of the situation behind, before the game. So
Yes.
the big thing is the books 2 through 4, written by Karen Traviss, New York Times bestselling author, is the bridge between the games. So book 2 begins right where the game 2 ended, and book 4 ends right where game 3 begins. So check that out if you want to get into more
It's kind
details.
of surreal. We're at this point where everyone thinks video games are responsible for the downfall of Western civilization, but we're actually leveraging them to sell books. Kids are reading because of our game.
Yes, exactly. Awesome. And one of the big story points you get out of the books is that Chairman Prescott has left the COG. The COG become disbanded. The COG are no more. There's no more coalition. It's a series of human tribes spread out just trying to survive now. They tried to win the battle in Gears 1, and they tried to win the war in Gears 2, and now that having all failed is basically they're just trying to survive. The planet is tearing itself apart, and they've really broken up into sort of this feudal society. And basically, the planet is being infested by this thing, this lambent entity that has kind of risen out of the emulsion.
Yeah, we saw a peek of those in Gears 1 with the Dark Wretches as kind of a first blush of what that infection can do. And then at the end of Gears 2, we saw it go full retard with the Lambent Brumac as it became this heinous creature. And we have all sorts of twisted, fun things to share with you in the future as far as what it does to various creatures. Sort of very, very kind of high-level pitch of what the game is as Rod had mentioned, we're all stranded now. Everybody's trying to eke out a living and trying to survive. It's 18 months after the events at the end of Gears 2. Humanity had flooded the Hollow. It's in the dead of summer. Everything's very, very warm, and people are kind of at the end of their rope. Society's completely collapsed, and the planet is tearing itself asunder, which is my word of the day, by the way.
Nice. That's on that little calendar you have by your desk.
Yeah, it sounds emo.
Awesome.
And so the highest level of everything is to save the planet. Marcus and his friends have to find and rescue his father, Adam Phoenix. Those of you might remember from Gears 1 that you had to go back and find his lab, Adam Phoenix's lab at the Phoenix Estate, and all of this ties in together nicely with the game and bookends it in the third series.
So save your father, save the world.
Exactly. No cheerleaders, though.
Well, and the thing too, but what's cool about the stranded idea, we're all stranded now, and essentially that society's broken down, as we sort of kind of embody that when you look at Anya from the first two games to where she is now, where she's gone from being a communications officer in her dress to now she's in full armor, battle gear, lancer, and a hardened soldier. So that kind of, she visually sort of represents how we see the society is moving as a whole.
It's just it's a fun character evolution to see, and we, for some reason with Gears, we have a lot of female fans. I don't know why it is, but we do. And we wanted to, when putting female Gears into the game, we wanted to really kind of, take them seriously and don't have them run around the battlefield half naked with ginormous chests and whale
Not that there's anything wrong with ginormous
Not that there's anything wrong with
chests,
no, those are perfectly acceptable. Just they're really not good to have in battle. Kind of affects your aim
and your back. With all that armor and a heavy chest.
Yeah,
it's not good for the back.
You're gonna wind up with back problems.
One of the big things about us and what we've been trying to do with the story in the games from 1, 2, and 3 is that we've been trying to get sort of deeper and deeper story and try to provide even more story as you get more familiar with the characters, and you don't have to just deal at the surface level. You can actually dig deeper into the characters, and we're really excited about the fact that Karen Traviss is the writer. She's been writing the Gears of War books, and she's again, New York Times bestselling author, and to have her involved in the script process and writing the dialogue and working with her is just, I think it's just making an even better story than
she is such a force. Like, I don't think she sleeps. The fact that she can write these novels and then write the game, and it's just amazing. And her sensibilities have been a welcome addition to the franchise. And normally in the games we don't really take the time to get too deep into who the characters are, have their moments where they kind of bond. And we're having a little bit more in Gears 3, but in the books is really, if you haven't picked them up and checked them out, I highly recommend it because it really helps flesh out the universe nicely.
4-player co-op. So
yeah, well, so the thing that makes Gears unique in regards to co-op is that what we're doing is story-driven co-op, and in Gears 1, Gears 2, player 2 plays as Dom, and that's known and accepted. The only way to really play as him in the campaign is to do that with a co-op game, and we're continuing that trend with full 4 players. So there's sections of the game whereas, you know, if you want to play as Jace in the campaign, the only way to really do it is to play as like player 3 for a certain section of the game, or you know, Carmine or Anya and whatnot, and it really kind of adds this, oh, now the game feels different, and this character's saying different things type of sensibility to it.
Yeah, and that's something we always wanted, was this sort of story-driven co-op. It wasn't just enough to say, okay, we wanted to have 4 guns on the battlefield, but it was, let's give 4 different characters, you know, in the world and have their perspectives and have them be part of the story, which has been a huge challenge for us. To always have 4 people present at all times during a story is definitely a challenge, but we think it's worthwhile undertaking, because it is such an interesting way to deal with co-op.
And if you're like your regular gamer and you play the game and you play as Marcus and you see him over the shoulder and you get so used to that image that if you join in and your friend hosts a co-op game and you hop in, it's like to then see like the different head of Jace with the cool cornrows right there, the blonde hair of Anya kind of over the shoulder. It really feels like a new experience.
Well, and what's cool this time around too is that we're actually shaking it up a little bit, and that the lead character is not always going to be Marcus when you're on the mission. So why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, well, so at the beginning you start off playing as Marcus, but after a certain amount of time you swap to Cole and Baird, who are on a separate mission. And what you ultimately realize is happening is that these 2 plot lines are kind of interweaving Pulp Fiction style. And there's lines of dialogue that are said over the comm link as the characters are communicating that you later wind up saying as you're playing that character, and back and forth. And it really provides this kind of fun way we can play with the narrative. I think that in Gears 1 we had a little bit of very, very light storytelling with the game. In Gears 2 we had got a little bit more serious with some of the things we attempted with Ty and Dom and Maria. And I think we as creatives are growing more confident in our ability to tell narrative in this medium. And I think this is it's going to be the best Gears story yet.
Yeah, and then fan favorites of Cole and Baird, being able to go and experience missions as them, as opposed to just waving goodbye to them and then seeing them come back. Be able to go have those moments as those characters will be just really cool.
Yeah, and Baird's still a dick.
Yeah, but, you know, a lovable dick.
Coltrane don't go. Coltrane goes, wow, wow.